no good entrepreneur should be doing 8 to 25 to $30 an hour jobs. In if you're doing your job well, then you're making more than a $30 an hour person. So it's not because the work is beneath you by any means. It is because it is distracting you from the work that only you can do. So anybody listening now, if you are not in a position where you have an admin, the first thing you should think about as you go through your day is this something only I can do all day long? Is this something only I can do? Whether it's in your personal life or your professional life.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Medeiros.
And I'm Colleen Hungerford. And this is We're Doing This Right, right? A podcast for the whole woman, mind, body, soul, and business.
It's humor infused, as real as it gets, inspiring, and you'll walk away with real usable tools for life and business.
If you love what you're hearing, please share with a friend, subscribe so you'll never miss an episode, and rate and review whenever you listen.
So find your earbuds, lace up your walking shoes, or cozy up with a beverage of your choice. It's time to dig in. Okay, so everybody's going to be in tears because we have our girl Susie home.
Yay!
Susie,
She's
home.
I'm happy to be back.
Why'd you wait so long?
As I say, in my mind, I'm always on. I'm always talking to you. Like whenever I listen, I'm like, well, here's what I would chime in.
Where's the voice text about what your thoughts are? Because we're not getting those often enough.
I know. Yeah. I need to renew that.
So Susie Adamson is here today, you guys. She is a real estate coach. She helps agents eliminate guesswork, streamline their operations, and gain real traction so they can run their business with more consistency and less stress. She's also our guiding star. We run everything through the Susie filter. Personally, I'll speak for me.
Yes. I mean, pretty much every time I do something, especially business related, I'm like, what would Susie do? That's not like,
you guys need bracelets.
I'm going to start making bracelets and some swag. Like, what would Susie do? You know what? You should actually do that, Susie. You should make some swag for yourself.
For your coaching clients. That would be horrible.
Yeah, for your coaching clients, or like we'll make like a Susie fan club and then we'll make those and send them to your coaching clients, so it's a little less weird.
Just gonna put like the little angel and devil on the shoulder. I'm gonna do like a little bobblehead of Susie and have you put them on your shoulder.
But I think
like an elf on the shelf.
Yeah, but instead of going up and down, it's like it should go like this. Don't do that. It should go the other way. Don't do that.
Hilarious.
That's not for you.
Don't open that app.
Yeah. That sounds a great idea.
Do not handwrite that task list. Do not do that. You put it all in one place, bitches.
Yeah.
Stop being distracted.
Stop having so many task lists in so many different places. Don't do that.
That's right. Put your phone away.
Oh my God. Before we start talking about what we're talking about, I want to tell you, Susie, you're going to be so proud of me because I have really started to time block. I have raged against time blocking so hard. Today, I really did it. And I'm going to tell you something. Guess what?
Was it effective?
It works. It's so annoying. No, and you know what? I was like, because now I run, multiple, always have, but now I run even more businesses. I really have to section out not only my time, but the time block and what it's for. Right.
Yeah.
And so that has been, it's Monday. So, but I'm taking it as a win. I've been more efficient and also a lot calmer about the things that I've been doing.
You made me think of, as you were saying that, I got this visual that it's a lot like your purse.
Yes.
When you have a big bag and everything's just in it.
Yeah.
And then you just can't find where that lip balm is. It's in there, but you can't find it. And the bigger the bag and the more stuff you have in it, the more organization you need in there.
Yeah.
When you aren't that busy and you have a little bag and you've got just a few things, you don't need that much. You don't need many systems. But the more you have in your bag, the more you need to compartmentalize and put things into order.
Well, yeah. I have other thoughts on time blocking. So this is going to be an aha for me. Maybe this is obvious to everybody. We never know. So in my mind, time blocking had to be like Monday from this time to this time every week, I'm working on this project. And Tuesday at this time, I'm working on this. it doesn't have to be the same every single week. It needs to flow with what you have going on. So when you're planning your calendar on Monday, okay, I'm allotting this amount of time to work on my newsletter. I'm allotting this amount of time to call clients back. I'm editing the podcast in this window. That is what it needs to be by time blocking. It doesn't need to be that my calendar consistently looks the exact same because
Right.
I'm a realtor and a mom and those things aren't possible.
It really is an aha, and maybe some people need to hear that because I thought early on that time blocking was that like repetitive blocks of time where you
Yes.
do 15 minutes of CRM every single day.
Right.
At
I
8:15.
Right. I find that anytime you have repeating events, it's easy to forget them. It's easy to go past them because they're repeating,
Yeah.
you know?
We give the example of like my workout thing that was on my calendar for like a billion years, right? It would
Yeah.
always say like
Yeah,
on,
you loved that block.
I put this block of workout on the way, and it was always
Right.
at the dumbest time when I was taking my kids to school, but I just let it sit there. Like, why did I do that?
Yes.
But I think too, the
And it
other
just makes
thing,
me feel
it
bad.
makes you feel bad. And that was the other thing I was going to say is, when you, at least for me, my perception of time blocking as was I, when I was always raging against it was, okay, well, it's this 15 minutes. And then if you don't do it for me, I have failed because I have now
Yeah.
not done this thing that I have said I was supposed to do, or I'm supposed to be doing this. Like I also have on my calendar, which I need to get rid of, is like I want to make 10 contacts to people every day, right?
Mhm.
Like I want to reach
Mhm.
at least 10 people a day.
Mhm.
Always happen at the same time, to your
Yeah.
point, Cheryl. And I think that's where it's tricky for people who are in the businesses that we are in that are a little bit fluid, right? Like
Mhm.
they're a little bit fluid of the time block. So Saturday, I sat down with a client and we literally just time blocked my Monday as an
Mhm.
exercise. And I think that that's kind of how I will have to do it moving forward, is also like time blocking the day before or
Yes.
something like that.
I think that is the key to understanding time blocking is that it forces you to recognize that you have a finite amount of time. How are you going to allocate it? That's what time blocking is, right? So you're going to work from 9 until 6 or whatever. I know that's not realistic for all agents, but let's just say I say all the time, I don't believe in time blocking every minute of the day. I don't think that's realistic. And that's where people fail, right? Because then an emergency comes up or something derails you. Your husband, like, throws out his back and you have to go help him out, or
It's me.
child gets sick and yes. So, things happen. And if you have everything time blocked that tightly, then you're of inevitably going to fail. I say though, you have to put on your calendar anything that is time specific, something that absolutely needs to happen. And there are a lot of those things, but we don't put them on our calendar. And then we feel like we can't find the time to do it because we didn't allocate the time to do it. Right. That's
Mhm.
how you need to. I think time blocking is much more effective if you just think about it as setting appointments. Like you may need to make an appointment to do XYZ in your day because then you see, oh, I literally don't have time to cook today. Someone else is going to have to do it or I'm going to have to get takeout. Do you know?
Yeah.
Like you will see in your calendar visually what you have available to you and then you'll be able to plan for it.
Rachel Metzger was really good at this
I was,
when we would get to work together all the time. She would be like, okay, on this day, we're going to need to set aside some time. And that's essentially what we're doing. We're setting
Yes,
aside time
that's right.
to build the request for the repair or XYZ. And she put it on the calendar so that it was on there. And it was
Mhm.
an interesting perspective because it's just setting aside time for that project, whatever that
Right.
project may be. Like I know, I mean, I did it the other night. I was going to bed. My parents got an offer on their house. I wanted to build them a net sheet and like summarize the offer for them, but I know my brain doesn't work the best at nighttime. So in my mind, when I went to bed, okay, my 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock hour, I'm setting aside for my mom and dad's house stuff.
Right.
And I got up and I did that. So I have been time blocking this whole time,
Mhm.
really in ways, but it's just dedicated time to work on this project.
Right.
yeah.
And to Susie's whole life goal is like without distraction, hopefully. Hopefully
Yeah.
we are committing to this project in this period of time that we've set aside for it and like not allowing the distractions to creep in and
And
steal that
again, I
time.
will say a million times, don't time block hours for anything.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody. can focus for that period of time. My thing now is just time block 15 minutes, 15 to 30-minute chunks of time rather than an hour or 2 hour to do your marketing plan or whatever it is you think you're going to do, because it's much more difficult to feel like you can pause everything else in order to get that thing done for too long a period of time. If you say, I've got half an hour, you can say to yourself and to everyone else, you can wait for 30 minutes.
Right.
Everything can wait for 30 minutes,
Right.
you know?
I think the
I
other
mean,
thing I'm realizing too is I have to get up from my desk every
Yes,
2 hours or
that's
something like
right.
that, right? Like I was on meetings this
Really
morning
more
from
frequently than
9.
that.
Yes, but I was on meetings this morning from 9 till like 11:30 nonstop. Like I could, it just was like back to back. So I couldn't, so then afterwards I was really overwhelmed by the last call, just because it was like a lot of like changes and new things and whatever. Starting to feel very like stressed out. No, it's not. Sorry, I have children here. It is not. The lemonade is not ours. Please stop shaking the table. I love you. Um,
how's your time block for the podcast going?
it's going great. The other part that's also is it's hard to time block and not be distracted when your husband is puking in your room and that's where your office is. So
And it's
here I
President's Day.
and it's
Yes.
President's Day, so here I am in the dining room. Anyway, like I was starting to feel so overwhelmed, so I was like, okay, I need to go take a walk. Like I just took like a 10-15 minute walk
Right.
around the block. Thing I'm really trying to work on is just like trying to like calm myself down, because then I can't go to my next task. And I think
Mm-hmm.
having something that indicates a switch between one
Yeah.
task to the next, like getting up and going for a walk, or getting a drink, or I
Yeah.
don't know, whatever.
Even
That
breathing, just like some very intentional, a
Yeah.
minute of deep breathing.
When I was walking, I was feeling really anxious, and I was just trying to tell myself, like, you're safe, you're fine, this is fine. Like, not this is not an emergency. I saw this reel the other day, and it was like about parenting. Did you send that to me, Cheryl? It's not the
Chances are I've been
it
all in this headspace lately.
like it was about a mom, and it was like a parent, you're always rushing her. He was like, come on, get your shoes on, get it. And it was like this mom going like, this is not an emergency. So she like took a deep breath, and she was like, okay, guys, like, and just like changed her behavior. Or like, when you're picking up the laundry and you're just shoving everything in the basket and you're whatever. And she was just like, this is not an emergency. So like things like that, where you're just like calming yourself down. I think
Mm-hmm.
nervous system wise, is something I'm really trying to be a little bit more intentional about. So I'm not feeling
Mm-hmm.
so frantic and stressed all the time,
Yeah.
because none of what I'm doing is an emergency. I'm not.
None of us are going to be on the streets if something doesn't happen immediately. And like that, I spent quite a bit of money in therapy recently to get that, like, hey, you guys, you're fine. Like, and I know a lot of it's because we have been living in crisis for like 2 years. And it
Yeah.
is hard to then come out of crisis and come back into the space of like, we have jobs, we have a roof overhead, we can afford to pay for that roof. Like, there's no, like, we have plenty of food. Nothing that has me feeling like I'm being chased by a bear is actually comparable to being chased by a bear. It's all made up stress that I have given myself, and that's not real.
hmm It feels real,
Yeah.
and like it feels
Mm-hmm.
very real, but it's like just reminding yourself, like, okay, you're cool, like you're safe, everything's good. I think that's super helpful. Okay, Susie, we were gonna chat about
I already forgot.
which is like
I already forgot.
systems and
Standard.
processes, but
Yes.
standards in your business, standards with your everything. So take it away,
Yeah,
master.
I've been thinking about this a lot because I've been doing business planning with people from the end of last year into this year, still doing some with clients, even though we're in February. And a lot of what I focus on are the first four slides of my business plan are your mission, your vision, your brand characteristics, and your team expectations. And I tell my clients, if you do nothing else, please think about those four things. And then the final slide that I think all agents should really be thinking about is their target audience. And this is true of all entrepreneurs, right? Their specific audience segments. But getting back to the first four slides, I call those four slides your standards. They're your standards, your systems, your support. We've talked about that with regard to running a team. But as a lot of my clients, so my sort of sweet spot with clients is small teams, team leaders, and also solo agents who are looking to grow their team. And many of them need to understand that you cannot grow a team or scale your business without these standards written down, not just in your head and not just like, oh, I think I know where I'm going, but two, I think Cheryl just posted a reel, and who knows the timing of all this when it's going to come out. But Cheryl, just I saw your post about InspireHER and how you're doing your visioning work with all of those women. And I just thought this was a perfect sort of fleshing out of that as well. A big part of why I'm talking about this so much with people is because I really encourage my clients, all of them, all of you, all entrepreneurs of a certain volume of business should have an assistant or an admin of some type, right? You've all heard the adage, if you don't have an assistant, you are an assistant. No good entrepreneur should be doing 8 to 25 to $30 an hour jobs. In if you're doing your job well, then you're making more than a $30 an hour person. So it's not because the work is beneath you by any means. It is because it is distracting you from the work that only you can do. So, anybody listening now, if you are not in a position where you have an admin, the first thing you should think about as you go through your day is this something only I can do? All day long, is this something only I can do? Whether it's in your personal life or your professional life. And once you hire that person and then you hire additional team members or whatever, then you're going to have to like immediately, and this is something that entrepreneurs do really poorly because you're not HR people, is right away I tell people, as soon as you have that hire date, you need to put on your calendar a 30, 60, 90-day checkpoint. And I started saying, I don't even want you to call them performance reviews because performance reviews automatically make people anxious, make them, make managers and the person that is being reviewed anxious. And so a lot of the language I've been using lately is this is not about judgment, it's about fit. It's not about judgment, it's about alignment or fit, right?
Yeah. I think one of the tricky parts, just as I'm building my team and have built my team, is particularly in real estate and in a lot of industries, like you can do this job so many different ways. So to your point of like really defining for me, like for Maverick Group, right? Like really defining what does it mean to be a maverick, right? Like what does that mean? What are the standards for what my expectations are for my team? And that is something I'm trying to work on, in the second year of this team, that kind of grew third year, but kind of second year of it being as big as growing it, besides just me and Nicole. Really something I put in this year was just like, okay, here's my expectation as far as like what you should be doing during the week. And I gave my agents the checklist of things like
Mhm.
you should be making this many calls. And it's not, I told them like this is not a punitive thing, but this is like also a guideline. If you don't know what you're supposed to be doing, check out your like checklist and
Yeah.
then keep yourself accountable, and let's track every week, right? And then I also want to see
Hmm.
the tracker every week because then
Yeah.
that helps me understand like where do they need support, where are they doing what I think they should be doing, or what kind of results are we getting, or are they doing all of these things and it's still not working and we need to adjust. And I think
Yeah.
I think it's hard also as somebody like me, and where like I don't I didn't know how to do what I did. I just did it. Right.
Hmm.
And so now it's like, how do I break down and systematize all the things that I did that helped me get to where I am?
Right.
And I think that's also a tricky part as an
Yeah.
entrepreneur or as somebody, because you just do it. Like I always give the example, like when I was starting real estate, I would do 3 open houses in a weekend. And that to some people is like, it's wild, but it was just what I was willing to do. Now, am I going to make my agents do that? Not if they don't know, but sometimes I wish they would want to.
But maybe
Like,
one of your expectations would be that you do one a weekend whenever possible, right?
yeah,
And
Four in a month.
we have two a month. They're required to do two a month.
yeah,
Is
and you bring up a great point, Colleen. I think your business and Cheryl, yours too, is just are perfect examples of this. Your standards are going to ever evolve. They are never static, which is all the more reason why they have to be written down. Because if you're keeping it in your head, you forget that you're not necessarily keeping everybody else up to date on what you've changed. And if you've written it down and you're revisiting it with yourself and with your team members, then you can make sure at every single, point that you're all on the same page.
well,
If you
and
keep it in your head as you change those expectations, you're not sure who you've told and who you haven't and how you're measuring them against those standards.
or I'm measuring them against a standard that I've made up that I haven't communicated to them,
Yeah, they haven't made.
which isn't fair to them, right? I'm like, well,
Totally.
what the hell? I had three open houses in a weekend. Why wouldn't they want to do
Right.
that? But they don't even know that's the expectation.
Right,
And then
right.
the
The
other
bar
thing,
has changed.
right?
Exactly. And I bet you've experienced this when you wrote down your standards, when you actually created that checklist, you were forced to clarify what was important to you. I say this all the time about writing things down because people are like, yeah, 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 it's in my head. I got it. But when you go to write it down, even a simple task, you have to actually take time to think about what it is that you're trying to articulate to somebody else. And when you have to go through that exercise, it really helps you be more purposeful and intentional about what you're communicating to your team members.
I'm finding this all the time with assigning things to my VA because
Mm-hmm.
you do, and I'm using the AI robot is really helpful in this, but I'll just kind of start clarifying in my AI portal, like here's the project, here's what is really important to me. Okay, and now create this in a way that I can assign it to my VA,
Yeah.
and also a lot of screen recording. But it is like it's been really helpful in understanding like, oh, I need to be this crystal clear across the
Yes.
board for everybody that's working with me so that
Right.
we can consistently convey what it is I'm trying to convey and do and
Right.
achieve.
And I
And
think
when you,
that's the hardest part is like we do things so fast and so naturally, and it's just so obvious to us that like it will baffle me sometimes that I have to say the things that I have to say. But that's also why I run a team. Like that's also why I am where I am and what I'm doing. If they knew how to do this, then they wouldn't
right,
need me.
right.
Like so. But that's the hardest part, and that's why they always say like. Um, like the best athletes, if you use that analogy, are not always good coaches. And the
Mm-hmm.
best, even the top producers are not always the best team leads because they can't
Mm-hmm.
figure out how to create those expectations and create those
Mm-hmm.
standards. But then also, and I think this is where you're going, Susie, is like setting those standards so clear and understanding that not everybody is going to be in your words the right fit for that.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean that they're
Right.
not good, it doesn't mean that they're terrible, it
Right.
doesn't mean that they're the worst agent ever or they're a loser. It just
Right.
means that they're not the right fit for whatever you're doing.
Right, because I mean, let's be honest, if they were any of those things, you wouldn't have hired them in the first place. If they were losers, if they were lazy, if they were, unkind, XYZ, you probably wouldn't have ever let them on your team. Occasionally, of course, people become Jekyll and Hyde and whatever, you don't know. But for the most part, it's just a matter of you give people a try. You never know until you try them out. And then you get to a point where you're like, something's off or something's not right. Well, if you don't have a very clear definition of what a maverick or somebody on your team looks like, and so this is part of the language that I've been using with my clients as well, is to say, here are my expectations for someone in this role, not here are my expectations for you. Right? Here are the expectations for what I think this a person in this role needs to do in order to make my life easier, in order to help make this team successful. Here are the things that you are doing. Here's how you're showing up. Here's how you're performing. Where do those things overlap? Is it a perfect overlap? Most likely not. There's probably some area for improvement. But if it's like a really divergent sort of situation, then you can say, here's what I expect from somebody in this role. Here's who you are and how you're performing. Not a good fit. Let me help you find something that is a better fit for your skills and gifts and your passions and whatever. Then it just doesn't have to become a contentious discussion. It doesn't have to be something you're afraid of. It's like, hey, you know what? I just see that this isn't like it's a round peg in a square hole, and let's figure out what's a better fit for you. Maybe it's still on our team. Maybe it's just in a different capacity, or maybe it is doing something else. And everyone will be happier when there's a good fit. We want that for everybody.
We hope you enjoyed part 1 of this discussion. We'll see you next week when we wrap it up with part 2. That's a wrap. Thank you for joining us on this journey of laughter, life, and growth.
And remember, you're not alone on this path to success. We're right here with you every step of the way.
Please remember to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And if you found value in today's conversation, we'd be thrilled if you would leave us a review on your favorite platform. Your feedback means the world to us.
And don't forget to share this podcast with your friends, family, and anyone who could use a good laugh and some practical insight into navigating the challenges and triumphs of our minds, body, soul, and business.
Remember, we're doing this right.